I got an empty Aquafina for him.
All right, let's shoot him. What we got?
Obviously, you guys came out with the win. Is there things that you saw that you guys need to clean up on? I know there was a couple different instances where you could have scored or made bigger plays
Sure.
and didn't happen. What did you see on your side?
Yeah, so it was the for the first, I think for the fan base for this year, it was the first what we call a bar ball that we got to see, where Kenny Spencer did a great job, and he's trying to aim for that bar every single time, and then you can get a turnover that way. And Jordan Williams with a great hustle down the field by him, recover the fumble to gain another possession, a steal on them, and then the very next play we fumbled the ball. So we got to do a better job with the rock in our hands. That's what's one thing that I don't like is when we turn the ball over, especially when we go up 2 scores. That's a big difference of being up 14-0 and then having them come back and it's 7-7. So little things like that. I thought we had great composure in the second half. I'd like to have a little bit better composure in the first half, especially when they're out of whack and they're getting the personal fouls. There's no need to retaliate. They're always going to catch the second person. That's how it always goes. But we got to be smarter on defense. We had a pick 6 that was called back, and what they call drifting. So what a defensive lineman will do if he feels like he's being cut blocked, he'll put his hands up, and you have to stay at the line of scrimmage. A defensive end cannot drop back in coverage, and so we dropped back about 4 or 5 yards, thus too many men dropping back, and it was negated. So just little things, we got to be smart. But outside of that, I thought it was a great win. I really did. I'm always going to be the coach who tells you in 48-21 we should have won 63-7. That's the kind of team we have. Some teams can't take that. But our team can. We always want to celebrate on Saturdays, and we'll correct on Mondays or Tuesdays when we see the guys next. So definitely a celebration, really proud. I thought it was a great crowd for Memorial Day. I know there's not too many 85-degree days around here. And if, everybody's going to be out and about, on Memorial Day weekend, which they obviously should, to have that many people in the building, I thought was awesome. But we're going to need every single person next week. It's going to be huge, number 1 versus number 2. That's going to be a big win. So but proud, and I'm glad we're keeping the momentum at home.
Coach, what's been the key to the 4-game win streak?
I think synergy. I really think it is. I just think the guys really enjoy each other. I'm not coaching any different than I have in the past. I coach hard. That's just the way I am. I'm going to give you my all. Our coaching staff is going to give you all. It's 21-hour days sometimes on Tuesdays, Wednesdays when you're putting the game plan together. Lack of sleep, lack of energy by the time the end of the week comes. But we find a way on Saturdays. But it's really, I think, the way we recruited. We recruited for a particular type of person. These guys can play. Everybody can run fast and jump high, and everybody can catch a ball. But we just have guys who just have a mentality that they do not want to fail. Their expectations are so high around here. And once you see that everybody else has that same kind of mentality, you start to realize the locker room is pretty special. That there's no weak link, and you start to feed off that and feed off the energy, and it's amazing how they're coming together. These guys have a chip on their shoulder. They feel like we're not respected around the league. They feel like people overlook us. And at the end of the day, I think they're proud to be in Albany. Once you see the fans come out the way they do, the way we're treated around town, the Capital Region's excited to be here, it makes you play harder. They don't want to let the fans down. They don't want to let this region down. So it's a perfect storm, man. It really, really is, and I'm proud that the guys are representing the community very well.
How important is it for Joe, do you think, to keep that streak going?
I think it's very important. He's not going to say that, but at the end of the day, I think coaches were aware of it too. I just think it shows how dominant of a player he actually is. When you already broke a record, how do you keep it going? If there's no ceiling, how do you raise the ceiling? And that's the mentality. That's a dog mentality. That's a mentality that we preach around here. That if you already hit the goal, how do you now surpass the goal? And that's why you hear me talking about it. We got the win, 48-21, but it'd been awesome to be 63-7. So it's just a mentality, and some people have that. Some people are satisfied with the win. Some people want more, and we just made sure that we recruited guys that always want more. And I think that's a streak that is a prime example of that.
Is he the best receiver in the league?
Absolutely,
without question.
Well, with all respect to everybody else, yeah. And I don't think how you couldn't say that. He's almost uncoverable. If you're small and you're fast, well, you're just fast. If you're big and you're fast, you're big and you're fast. And you can't teach height, you can't teach strength. He can't teach speed. He has all 3 of them, and now he has a knowledge of the game. And to work with his best friend, a quarterback, and a coach, and Coach Moss that has been with him for a long time. It's perfect cohesion. And I'm just glad I'm not coaching against the guy this year.
Coach, what did you tell these guys? Obviously, you had beat this team twice before, and then the schedule, 2 weeks, you guys get Baltimore, 2 straight weeks at home. How did you guys mentally prepare knowing that this game, obviously, it could have been, I don't want to say trap game, but it could have been.
Exactly. I think it was a trap game. It could have been a trap game. But you got to prepare for that. You got to teach that. And some of the rookies and some of the young guys don't know what a trap game means. And if you have Philadelphia with a 20-game home streak sitting here, and then you have Baltimore, who was on a roll, sitting here, and then you got the team right in between that you've already beat twice. How do you not focus on Baltimore, and how do you not, be too high on yourself because you beat Philadelphia? And so that's something you have to teach, and you have to constantly just preach it. And you can't let the guys get too high on themselves. Me either. Now, I find myself, I can't let a victory start creeping into Tuesday or Wednesday. I have to look at it like, we have to respect all opponents. You don't want to underestimate your opponent. You don't want to have any fear for the opponent, but you want to totally respect them. And, with that being said, I'm just proud that the guys were professional this week, and they attacked the day, they attacked the week, and they attacked the game the way they should.
A different coach and a different quarterback playing against the Valor this week. In the last 2 times, how important was it to establish a dominating presence against?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, look, and with all due respect to Washington, if you just fired your coach, you have an interim head coach there, you have a new quarterback. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. So I know you guys focus on, and we do too. We focus on what we call transactions. So there's a lot of trades, there's a lot of cuts, there's a lot of recallable reassignments, and all these things that you find on the league website, and they're trying to find themselves. They're trying to find an identity. What we did not want to do tonight was allow them to find that identity at our expense. And if you're still a whole bunch of individuals trying to become a team, you're not going to have success versus us. And that was our big message to the guys today. If all of a sudden it's in the fourth quarter, it's 35-35. You're giving that team life, and then they're going to grow up right in front of your eyes. That's the last thing we wanted to do. So that was the focus this week too. Was just not allow their quarterback to become a leader, not allow their coach to be a genius. And again, totally respect what they do. They got a long road ahead of them. We'll see them again. By that time, we'll see them. I promise you it'll be much better. But that was kind of the message, that we're just, we couldn't give them life, if you will, on our dime.
Question for
you.
Yeah. It seems like the game was pretty chippy throughout. Since you guys have played them twice already, and then a couple of their guys got ejected from the game. Do you think that's just from guys just playing really hard, or do you think there's some sort of rivalry building between them?
Well, I think what's going to happen next year when we get the 4 teams in next year, right? When you have 8 total teams, these are the rivalries that are going to be established. I mean, which is awesome. Philadelphia's right down the road. Baltimore's not too far. Washington's right there. So we're creating this East Coast. In 10 years, this will be this will be like the NFC East or whatever it might be. This is going to be the beginning of the rivalry. And that's the league is small. That's why you do this. You keep it regional, so you create these rivalries, and people start to focus on the team that's coming in. I think it's a little bit of that, but more importantly, I think it's unfortunate that them at 0-6. That's frustrating, and it's hard as a professional athlete that gets paid just as much as our guys get paid. Are seeing big crowds. Are seeing guys that love each other. Are seeing wins. And they're not, they're not having that success, and that's frustrating. So we knew it was going to be like that. The big thing I want to focus on is not retaliating. See, they only had 4 penalties, we had 7, and so we can't do that. We can't have more penalties than they can. I always look at the turnovers and the penalties, and the team that's going to win every time is the team with the fewest amount of penalties and the fewest amount of turnovers. And so we let them in the game a little bit by being stupid a little bit with some of those penalties and those retaliation things, but it has to be expected when a team's 0-6 and. Third time you beat them, they're pretty frustrated. We good, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Coach.